Hi there, sales leaders. So you just purchased Dynamics 365. Congratulations. Now you need to get this thing up and running for your sales staff.
AIDA, attention, interest, decision, action. Attention, do I have your attention? Interest, are you interested? I know you are.
Whether it's Dynamics 365 or some other sales automation system, one of the hardest things you can do is get user adoption early in the process. CRM systems have been around now for over 30 years, but there still seems to be a lot of fear for salespeople when management rolls out a new system. With a new system comes new processes, sometimes new comp programs, and most certainly more accountability for their sales. Some people see this as a very positive influence, others not so much. I'm assuming as a sales leader, you went through the selection process. You saw a lot of cool sales dashboards and pipelines. You saw sales processes, artificial intelligence tools that'll help your team maximize their efficiency and save them time in the sales. These are all great things. These sales demos got you excited. There's no question. And you can, with proper implementation and good understanding of your own sales environment and objectives, your team can achieve all of these things that the sales guy said and Microsoft Marketing Engine said you could do. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can gain user adoption by asking the least amount from your sales staff in the beginning, and give you some strategies and some techniques for managing your sales team with opportunity management without burying them in data entry. Towards the end of the video, I'm going to share with you exactly what happens psychologically to your sales team when you implement a new Salesforce automation system. I will demonstrate this with a variant of the Dunning-Kruger change model diagram. This will help you understand the life cycle of your implementation a little bit better. So before we go to the next segment, I want to discuss why you should listen to me, why you should continue watching this video. A little bit about myself. I have over 30 years experience as a sales leader. I have over 22 years implementing Dynamics 365 in over 500 implementations to date. I was one of the first partners that embraced CRM Online back in 2008. So why should you listen to the rest of this video? Because I think I know a thing or two about implementing Dynamics 365 for sales. So let's start off with the 3 things I think you should know. 1. Have a clear understanding of your sales process. What is a lead to you, and what is your qualification criteria for a lead to pass to an opportunity? 2. Sales management over activity management. Don't get drawn into the trap of recording every single detail in the system just because you think you might be reporting on it later. Good sales reporting will come from good use of the system over time. 3. Manage the results, not the details. Try to focus on helping the rep close more business by understanding what is happening on their own sales opportunity life cycle and on a particular deal they're working on. The system will tell you that, and it'll do it with really very little data inputted into the system. Have them tell a story. The first of the 3 items that I talked about was know your sales process, when to qualify and move something from a lead to an opportunity. Let's go in and have a look at leads for a moment. So a lead is a contact or a company that you either have limited to a small amount of contact with that hasn't necessarily raised their hand to say that they're going to buy, but you want to be in communication with them. In some cases, this would be a suspect for some companies. Others would be a lead. So I'm going to go into Microsoft terminology for it is a lead. So I'm going to go into a lead, and a lead will have a topic. So I may have talked to this person at a trade show and varying pieces of information. So their first name, last name, address, little things like that, just basic profiling information. There's a point where we need to say, do I want to spend my time with this particular lead or suspect? And at that point, when you've made that decision, that's what I've been saying, I said earlier, was know your sales process. When do I convert this into an opportunity? So I come up here and I can say, I'm ready to go to the next stage. And think about this as your basic sales process. So qualify, develop, propose, and close. When we're in the qualify stage within a lead, it sits in this bucket. We can come in and we can say, is there something that we want to use to move it forward? Is there a line in the sand? Did they attend a seminar? Did we have a first meeting with them and they've met our criteria to say, yes, we want to engage with them? Was it just simply a phone call? Like I said, you just need to understand what your own process is to get them from a lead to an opportunity. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. We're just going to simply come up to the top of the page and we're going to hit the word qualify. So now that I've qualified the lead, we're now in the develop stage. And what the system did automatically, without the rep having to type a whole bunch of additional information, it created a contact. It took over and copied over all of the account information. So it created a company. And it put all the address information, everything in that company, and it created an opportunity for me. The opportunity is now in the develop stage. What does that mean? And we're going to work on it essentially. A simple sales process is really all you need to have. Done many implementations where they overcomplex this part too. 4 stages, they work perfect for a funnel chart. Show me all my beginning first level opportunities that are in the develop stage, show me ones that are in proposal stage, and ones that are in the close stage. What do you mean by close stage? Ones that we're negotiating or close to signing or close to or at the commit stage. Okay. So the second item that I talked about earlier was, manage the sales environment, not the details. When I look at this page, I can see that, it's missing some information. Oh, he doesn't have current situation, doesn't have need. I get that. And that's more for the sales rep, and most of the fields on the screen are for the sales rep to manage the sales process. The sales manager needs to manage the overall environment, overall pipeline, all of those details. If when I say don't overstress about in the beginning having too much detail, like every line item filled out, every section filled out. If you could get some basics in there, get a couple stages for the pipeline. Now, here's the tip I'm going to give you in the sort of final run. There's really only 3 fields that matter the most when you're setting up an opportunity. That's going to help drive 4 if you want to count the sales process and you want to see an actual sliced pipeline. But I think that the first 2 most important, the 3 is who's it for, right? What company? What's the estimated close date? This is really important. If you don't have an estimated close date, you're not going to be able to show a pipeline. You're not going to be able to say when you're going to close business. So by having this one field filled out, which I think should be mandatory, you come in and say, I'm going to close this for the end of the month, right? That's kind of your commit. Anything in the next 30 days is a commit. Next is revenue. What's it worth? Is it a $1 deal? Is it a $1 million deal? I know the reps will say, hey, we don't know how much it's worth. We're a custom, machine manufacturer that builds custom machines. So we have no idea what it's worth. Well, I think you do. If you've been doing this long enough, you have some idea whether you're talking about a $5,000 deal or a $2 million deal. This estimated revenue doesn't have to be accurate, but it has to have a value. Okay, so, and I think as a sales manager and as a rep, you should be able to come up with a number. Some people just put $1. I'm okay with that. It should have a number and it shouldn't be 0. But let's assume that this is going to be a $100,000 deal. Okay? And we start off with $100,000. It could be $80,000. It could be $120,000. And this could be adjusted at any time through the process. If you fill out these 3 fields, who's it for? When's it going to close? And how much is it worth? You now have opportunity management. When you have a meeting with your sales rep, you don't have to talk about all these different details. You can talk about something really simple. You come in, you say, hey, here's your pipeline, Joe, or Here's your pipeline. What do you got closing? So organized by close date. When's it going to close? How much is it worth? And tell me a story about it. I never liked this rating thing. I never liked probability either. Some sales managers love probability. I think it's a subjective thing unless it's driven directly off the sales process. So anything that's in the close sales process is, 90% or 80% or whatever you want to call it. Anything that's in the developed stage might be 40%. I like to drive it from system probability rather than subjective. Sales rep says, I think this is 90%. You can take two sales reps. One sales rep will say the deal's at 9%. Another sales rep saying the same deal is at 60%. And you'll say it's at a different percentage. So I think probability is useless. I think if you want to be successful in the beginning for running Dynamics 365 or any CRM systems, start with 3 fields, okay? Who's it for? What's it worth? And when's it going to close? If you can get consistently those 3 fields filled out by your rep, then what will happen is the rest of it will come. Okay, so you'll get, it'd be nice if they could move this to a sales stage. A lot of them forget to do that, and it will impact your sales pipeline. It'd be nice to have, how many do I have in qualify, how many do I have in develop, and how many do I have in propose. But if you could get them to fill out those 3 fields, you now have the basis for a conversation. And that conversation would look something like this. Joe, you have a deal coming that's due to close on the 18th in 2 days from now for $24,000. Tell me a story about it. I see you've still got it in the qualify stage. And, of course, the sales rep will come like, oh, yes, I forgot to move that forward. Okay, no problem. Tell me a little bit about this one. Is there something you need in the way of help? What are we waiting for? So the rep will move this forward, obviously, to the close stage. You'll come in and he'll just pop it through real quick, which is fine. You can come and do that and get it right to the close stage. Let's get it over to that. And you might even bring this up and say, so they've got the final proposal, right? Yeah, they sure do. What are you waiting for? Well, it's, they have to go to a committee. Okay. Is there something that the committee needs, or, tell me more about your decision maker on it. Can we get a meeting? The most important thing, I think, is to make sure that this date in your conversation is not before today. If this estimated close date was the end of last month, you've got a problem on the deal. It's really that simple. Okay, it's for $24,000. It's up and coming, which is good. The reps told you a story. You've accepted it. But if you come in here, the first thing I would do is come in and look for everything that was before today. Okay, everything that was due to close before today. And if you find one from last month, that's the one you target. And even if you do it publicly on the Monday call that you do with them, or the Friday call, you could get everything you need really from those 3 fields. 4th, if you want to say the sales pipeline stage. Don't get wrapped up in rating of it and probability. Those are all subjective. 3 fields. Estimated revenue, close date, and potential customer, and you can manage your sales force off those 3 fields. If you've gotten any value from what I've told you today, please go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. And that really will help me create better content for you and help the channel. So next up, we're going to take a look at some of the psychology around your implementation and how to make it better, and what's actually going on with some of your users when you first roll out your system. This modified version of the Dunning-Kruger chart illustrates the project enthusiasm through the life cycle of the project. The people in charge of making the change happen, the change agents, or implementation's leadership team, may have varying levels of interest in the project. Those who are leading or supporting the change may think it may take less work than it actually will, while those who are uncertain or are opposed to the change may resist it completely. Some members of the implementation team may also have differing levels of enthusiasm for the change. Some of them may even feel stuck or, may be facing challenges that they don't believe that can be resolved by this application, service provider, or workaround. which is why it's called the Valley of Despair. And you can see right here, the Valley of Despair is the low point of the implementation. We'll talk about that a little bit. At this point, the implementation team or champions may realize that the software may not deliver the specific functions they require, or it may not be as they remember it from the sales demo. Fear not, this happens in almost every implementation I've ever worked on. Okay, so why is this important? You're going to start off with your project. You just bought the software. Your team's enthusiasm towards it once they find out how much they have to do, and the fact they got to double up on some of their work, and you're introducing some form of change to their environment. So a lot of them will fall into this valley of despair. It's just the way it is. We're going to bring them back out of that, and every project comes back out of that, but they're going to lose enthusiasm about the project, and they're going to reject it. Some of them are going to reject it. Some of them will champion it, but some will reject it. It's just the way it is. My job is to get you out of the valley of despair and into the positive gain area. And to do that, I need to do that as quickly as possible. And there are a couple ways. If you stay to the end of this video, I'm going to show you the 3 ways that we're going to do that to help get you to something that's going to work for you, whether it's sales. I'm going to focus on sales for the video, but this applies whether you're doing field service or whether you're doing customer service. The objective is to get the thing up and running quickly, get data in the system, and have your users in there doing real work. And you really can't start learning until you're doing real work. So stay tuned.